In the 0.7.0 release of the Chocolatey extension for Visual Studio Code, there's a couple of things that have changed. I want to highlight them here. The first one was a pull request from Manfred. So Manfred identified that there was a couple of typos within the main README for the project. So thank you to Manfred for putting that in. The second one was that whenever a new release of the extension is released to the marketplace, I actually send links to a Gitter Room and actually some links out to Twitter. So what I did was I augmented that message slightly so that there's actually now a link back to the full set of release notes for the extension so that people can find out exactly what went into that release. So no change in functionality there, but just hopefully providing more input to the user about what's going on and what's coming in each new release. The one that I really want to talk about was an issue that was raised by Andrew here. So a little bit of history. So I made a decision that when I install the Visual Studio Code extension for Chocolatey, that I also want to bring with it the PowerShell extension and the Zip Explorer extension. And I took those as hard dependencies on the extension. Now that's because I feel that having the ability to use this Zip Explorer, you can't really see because of my head, this Zip Explorer at the bottom here allows you to actually interrogate or look inside a generated nupkeg when you've created that nupkeg via the Chocolatey extension. So that's really useful. Now, I took a hard dependency on that extension. So when I install it, when you install the Chocolatey extension, you will also install the Zip Explorer extension, and you'll also install the PowerShell extension. Now that's because you're writing PowerShell for your Chocolatey packages. So having the ability to have syntax highlighting and sense checking within those PowerShell scripts just makes sense. Now the problem with that was that Andrew noticed that when he was using the PowerShell preview extension, now in order to get that preview extension installed, you have to uninstall the PowerShell extension. Now because I'd taken a hard dependency on it, it wasn't possible to uninstall it. Right, so what we did after reaching out to some of the Visual Studio Code creators, some of the guys behind it, I was able to find out that rather than take a hard dependency on those other extensions, what I can do is I can make a suggestion that those things are added. Now, down here you'll see that it's not actually showing me what I expected to show here. Maybe because it's actually installed now. But rather than take a hard dependency on the other two extensions, what's happening now within the package.json file, if I look at the bottom here, then I'm using this concept of an extension pack. So that means that as part of the installation of the Chocolatey extension, it will go ahead and install the PowerShell extension and the Zip Explorer extension if you don't have them already, but it also means that you can uninstall them as well. So to show that in action, on this machine I have the Chocolatey extension installed, and as a result of that I have the PowerShell extension installed. Now if, as per what Andrew was trying to do, you wanted to install the PowerShell preview extension, I wouldn't have been able to do this. It would have come up with an error. But now, because it's an extension pack rather than a hard dependency, it can be uninstalled happily. Now I'm going to put it back in again because I still want it to be there, but that's what that was for. So it shouldn't have changed any of the functionality of the extension, but it just makes it possible to uninstall those recommended extensions if you need to for whatever reason. And that was it. So hopefully this is of use to you. In the next release of this extension, there's some exciting stuff coming in terms of making use of what's known as the language server protocol within Visual Studio Code for actually allowing you to test or ensure rather that the new spec file that you're creating actually adheres to all of the recommended best practices. So I'm excited about that extension coming out, or the version of that extension coming out. So definitely keep your eyes posted for that coming down the pipeline. Thank you very much.